And welcome back. As we reported earlier tonight in this newscast, 2 children and a teacher shot by a gunman at a South Carolina elementary school today. The suspected shooter, a teenager, is in custody tonight, and his father was found dead in his home with a gunshot wound. Last week, Union County High School was placed on lockdown right here in the tri-state. It came after the sheriff's office received a call about a threat at the school. It is no wonder parents, students, and educators are on edge in these times we live. Deputies searched Union County High School and talked to students that day, but were unable to confirm the threat. Earlier in the day, Eyewitness News reported online and on social media that a source was told a student had a gun in the school. That information turned out to be incorrect, and we made the correction on our website and social media within moments. But the information quickly spread like wildfire on social media, and that's the problem. I'm joined tonight by Malinda Beecham, the Public Information Officer for Union County Public Schools, also our Eyewitness News News Director, Bob Freeman. We are talking about the tightrope journalists and educators must walk with social media becoming more and more prevalent in our lives. First, Malinda, fortunately, this situation at Union County High School turned out to be just basically a rumor, but the whole situation was very tense that day. Parents were worried, students were worried, and it bled over on social media. Walk me through that.
That morning, we received the call from the high school that they had placed a lockdown on their school because they had received several phone calls from parents, and the sheriff's department was coming to investigate. We quickly went into action to put together a correct message and glean information and get it out to parents. However, with social media got ahead of us because whenever students went into lockdown mode, they were able to text parents and tell them what they were hearing from others. So we were faced with the challenge of getting correct and appropriate information out quickly while social media was taking on a life of its own, telling the details of what they thought was happening.
And Bob, you and I have often talked about being careful when we post on social media. We have those editorial meetings in the afternoons and the mornings. But something happened last week here in our newsroom that we regret, and it was the information that was posted, albeit briefly, but it was posted.
Exactly. Let's back up for just a moment and let me explain what we try to do in a breaking news situation. Our goal, our mission, is to inform the public. And in a breaking news situation, there are 2 very, very important things that we're working to do. Get it right and get it on. And the most important of those 2 is to get it right. That day, last Wednesday, there was, in fact, a lot of information flying. There was a lot of information being posted on social media. There were a lot of phone calls coming to our newsroom. And as we were trying to sort fact from fiction, there was a slip in getting it right. That slip resulted in the post that we put on social media, which indicated that a source inside the school had told us that there was a gun in the school. That information obviously was not correct. It got on, regrettably, but as soon as we determined where this information was coming from, we made the decision that this is not a credible source. This is not something that we have confirmed. This is not getting it right. This is wrong. So it was changed. It was deleted. And we put the information that we had, which was very basic information, which I think you would agree was correct, and that was that the school was on lockdown and was investigating an unspecified threat. And that was the story that we maintained, through the remainder of the day until we got the information that came out later from your office and from the sheriff's department. Bottom line, get it right, get it on. We try to do that every single day, and every single story that we do, we made a mistake, regrettably. Hopefully we learned from it, because there's nothing worse than making the same mistake twice. You didn't learn from the first one. And we're big believers in number one, when we make a mistake, we stand up and say we made a mistake, and we did. We apologize, and so I apologize on behalf of our department, and we move forward.
Bob and I were talking earlier today. Social media is a lot like that old game that we played when we were kids, telephone.
Yes.
And everybody knows what telephone is, and by the time it gets to about the 20th or the 30th or the 40th person, some of what we believe to be facts and the truth can be altered somewhat. And the thing about social media, Bob, you know this, is 10 seconds, even if it's up for 10 seconds, that can be an eternity. and it's out there. Retweets, shared Facebook posts. Taking the mystery, though, out of a situation like that, because as Bob said, the most important thing is we don't want to give people a nervous breakdown, but at the same time, we want to inform them of basically the truth to put their minds at ease. Would the school district have done anything? Could the school district do anything differently on that particular day in getting word out to parents?
Actually, anytime we have a lockdown, whether it be a drill or one that we're using to investigate matters to see if it's anything more serious, it's a learning opportunity for us. So absolutely, we've been able to identify some things that we can do differently and brainstorm some ideas for how we communicate. However, we do use the tools available to us. We immediately send out an automated call to parents with the information we have available. We do Facebook posts to our district Facebook page, and those are official posts with the information that we have. We send out emails to our staff with information about it, and in that particular situation, it was locked down and secure, and so emails were distributed to staff, and they were able to read those aloud to students as well to calm their fears.
We're in a day and age of multitasking, and I often bring out a tragedy at a school a few years ago, Sandy Hook.
Right.
A major television network tweeted a photograph, I believe it was a driver's license photograph, of what that network said was the suspect. It turned out to be Adam Lanza's brother. Now that was up for about an hour, and that is forever in the world of social media. It got shared by millions, retweeted, and that kind of underlines the challenge that we have in getting attribution. And Bob, you can elaborate on this. The attribution, the best attribution is from that source that is closest, a law enforcement agency, a school that is closest to the situation. But that is easier said than done sometimes in getting, especially when something is so fluid as a school threat, whether it be real or not. Your take on the Sandy Hook situation, that's when I really started getting concerned about
Right.
social media.
In the Sandy Hook story, in that awful tragedy that happened there were multiple mistakes that were happening over the course of the day that it happened and the days that followed. In addition to the photo of Adam Lanza's brother Ryan, and Ryan being identified as the shooter, there was a report that the principal of the school had let Mr. Lanza in. That was incorrect. Mr. Lanza shot his way into that building, and he came through a window. There was a report that his girlfriend and a friend of hers was missing. Now they found his mom dead, but it was never ever confirmed that Mr. Lanza had a girlfriend. Information gets out, and in the case of the photo, that actually came about as a result of the police department transposing the photos. I mean, mistakes happen, and not making excuses, but when those things happen, I mean, I think we live in a world where we have to realize that in a situation like Sandy Hook, like Union County, like anywhere USA, that there's a lot of information coming from a lot of different places, and everyone is scrambling, everyone is rushing, everyone's trying to do the right thing, and mistakes will happen.
A longtime journalist once said, I'd much rather be second and right instead of first and wrong.
Exactly.
Correct.
Yep.
Thankfully, in Union County's case, it was just based on rumor, and nothing
Right.
came about from that. But as some of the situations you just described of inaccurate information making it out, in some comment threads, we saw some really inaccurate information.
Hurtful
that
information.
was very hurtful to some individuals and false, and it raised a lot of
Libelous
alarm.
information if you're not careful.
Yes. And it raised a lot of alarm and concern amongst other parents and spread like wildfire. So we really encourage anyone, parents, students who are in the situation, a Snapchat or a tweet, even whenever you are in a lockdown situation, gives away your location, and that's not a great idea either.
Right.
So we really encourage everyone to be very responsible in social media usage and to only pass along official, accurate information.
Right.
Melinda, let me ask you this, because we have heard this from parents, not just with the Union County situation, but any kind of situation where a lockdown occurs. Parents will ask us, especially if something is posted on social media the night before, they want to know, do I send my child to school? And they're asking us, and we don't answer that question because we can't answer that question, but we get those questions.
The first place to turn is not to your media news stations
Right.
or to social media. The first place to turn is to your district. You can call our office directly. If it's at nighttime, we have a tip line on our webpage. It's on the home page. It has an 800 number. It also has a link. It can be anonymous or it can be direct. Many of the people in our county have our cell phone numbers and can send us a message or messages through Facebook or any which way to get a hold of us. But the quicker it's reported to us, the quicker we can make sure that our schools are safe and secure. If we had this information the night before, we could have went out in the middle of the night and searched the building and investigated the leads and started the day ahead of this issue.
I honestly believe in many of these comment threads and on Twitter, I get the impression that if it sounds judgmental, so be it on my part, but it sounds like some people feel they're in a private chat room and they don't understand that this is going out on the World Wide Web. It's not like the old days of dial-up and you are
Right.
online right now. And it can indeed spread so quickly. Well, Malinda Beecham, thank you so much for being here tonight. I think we all learned something from this, and we want to keep the lines of communication
Absolutely.
open with all of the school districts. But thank you so much for this candid conversation tonight.
We really appreciate it. Thank you for having us, and
Thank
thank you
you.
for your apology, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Bob, thanks for hanging in there tonight with us.
Not a problem. I enjoyed it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Alexandra.
Families